Let's look at solving quadratic equations. We did this, we were on Friday. It never goes away. They're just going to get more and more complicated day by day. And then you go on to college algebra and you'll see more of these all the time. Now notice that the only variable thing I have here is the x squared. So I should like totally get him by himself, right? Isn't that what we do when we solve equations? Get x by himself?
I guess so.
Yeah, of course so. So how do I get x by itself?
With 5.
Let's subtract the 5 over.
Root 5, divide everything by 2.
So I totally get 2x squared equal to what?
Negative 40.
Negative 40?
Divide both sides by 2, you get x squared equals negative 20.
Divide both sides by 2, so I can get rid of the coefficient because the square is not on the 2, just on the x. So x is equal to negative 20. Whoops.
Got the square root.
X squared. No, x squared is there. That's what I meant to say.
So now x equals plus or minus the square root of negative 20.
When I take the square root of both sides, remember that square root property? Remember how we did that last week? And if you didn't remember, you're going to watch the videos, right? Because I do it all for you guys, all for you. Because my wife doesn't care. She never watches.
She didn't watch every single one.
She doesn't even subscribe to my channel.
How dare she?
I know.
At least she follows me on Twitter. So x equals plus or minus. Remember, the plus or minus is in front of the radical, so anything I simplify out of the radical goes right here after this plus or minus. So how do I break down 20 in a useful way? 5 times 4. 4 is a perfect square.
Right, so it's plus or
So what's the square root of 4?
plus or
2.
minus 2i squared.
So plus or minus 2. I hear the I comes from the negative inside.
Then 5.
Of the 5? Or is 5 inside the radical?
5's inside that.
So I get just this guy right here. Isn't that amazing?
I love it.
Now you could separate this into 2 answers, but does it matter if I do that?
No.
No. I have an answer that's complex, imaginary, so separating this isn't going to help me out at all. Now also on Friday we saw equations that were a little bit more complicated than this. We saw something like this. X plus 13 quantity squared, say plus 2 is equal to 9. I need to get x by itself, but notice what's going on here is the only place I have x is contained within the square. And we know how to cancel that square, and it's by using what? Using the square root property. If you're watching this video at home or somewhere else, you're more than welcome to answer. Don't be embarrassed.
We can't hear you.
But even though I can't hear you, you should still respond as though you're in class. I feel your presence. So I want to get the square by itself so I can use the square root property. How do I do that? Should I go ahead and take the square root of both sides? Not unless you want to be wrong.
Move the 2.
I'm like, so totally got to move the 2.
Totally.
And I get x plus 13 quantity squared is equal to 7. I pull out my handy dandy
Marker.
pink marker.
Definitely should use green.
Take the square root of both sides. Remember your plus or minus. That may be something that when you're doing this on your own, that you have like a red pen to highlight that plus or minus so that you don't forget that. So now I have that x plus 13 equals what?
Plus or minus the square root of 7.
Am I done?
Nope.
I'm not done because I'm supposed to solve, which means get your variable by itself. And it's not by itself until I do what?
Move that 13.
Yeah, move that 13!
And
So when I move 13 to both sides,
It's gonna be
remember I told you,
before the plus or minus.
Put in before the plus or minus, that way we don't make mistakes. Not that you guys would, but some people do. So I get negative 13 plus or minus the square root of 7. Do y'all agree?
Jace.
Right.
That was almost too easy, right?
No, just easy enough. This is a perfect.
C'était parfait? Oui, c'est vrai.